Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Wilhelm Scream, and welcome back to the channel for more Destiny 2 news and intel. And so much to cover in today's video, as we had the launch of Ashen Iron, finally, a new activity, as well as a new power grind and new tiered weapons to pursue. So we're going to be getting into all the things that I've learned so far in the first day of grinding out Ashen Iron. And it seems as though there has been some major confusion. I don't know if this is necessarily a glitch, though there was some glitches that we will cover in today's video. But there definitely seems to be a miscommunication on the part of Bungie to the people who were planning on farming to 550 power, at least in the first week, as that does not seem to be possible at the current moment. And I don't know if this is necessarily, as I said, something that is wrong currently at the moment, or if this was just Bungie miscommunicating what they were intended, or what the intention was as far as how to farm power. And I can believe that there is at least an issue as far as what people assumed was going to be the method to farming out power versus what the actuality of the situation is at the moment. So I'm going to cover all the different nuances and probably recover a few things that, though I've talked about them on the channel before, might still not be very clear in terms of how to actually use the portal best, as it is a very counterintuitive process. And it seems as though after even 2 months of things really not changing, people are still confused by it. And I think that was the number one thing I took from today, was that people expected something to change dramatically, and really there's only been a few nuanced changes in terms of farming out power and rewards. So, as I said, we'll get into all of that, as well as some glitches that you probably want to know about, some of which have been patched, but some moving forward might be helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell, the post notifications, so you never miss out on any future Destiny 2 content like this. You can also follow me on Instagram. It'll be linked in the description box down below. Remember, 70% of those who watch my channel regularly are still not subscribed, so if you would like to support this channel, subscribing is free and is the easiest way to do so. Alright, so let's get into the power grind currently. Now, everybody should know that the power cap has been increased to 550. And it seems as though people believed that the power grind past 450 would be a lot easier now, and that the power grind from 400 to 500 or to 450 would be vastly easier. And that doesn't seem to be the case, at least not in the way that people perceived it to be. Now, it seems as though, based on just the feedback that I've heard, that everybody assumed that we were going to be getting +3 drops for an A tier reward at 400, and then only above 500 would that change, though you were going to be able to get the better rewards from just doing something like a B+. So once you got into what they're calling the platinum or diamond tiers, which are, I think, platinum they described as from 450 to 500, and then diamond being from 500 to 550. At the diamond level, a B+ would essentially net you not only a tier 5 reward, but also would be much easier in terms of power, as you would be able to get just more rewards in less time because the activities were going to be that much easier. That doesn't seem to be the way that it's working. Now, this is how I perceived it working. That there was not going to be really any change whatsoever to the power of rewards from anything past 400. So what was, in my opinion, stated, but maybe not stated correctly, was that there is now an RNG chance on the bonus rewards from activities after 400. So it doesn't mean that you're going to be getting higher power rewards, like a +3 for, say, a A-level activity. A and B+ are essentially still going to give you the same reward. All you're getting is more chances at that +1. So there is a chance, for example, that instead of just getting the 1+1, you could get potentially, if there are 3 bonus rewards for an activity, 3 +1s. But all those bonus rewards are only RNG chances to drop the +1. So I think that is where the confusion lies. Now, this does, of course, increase your overall power grind speed because you can get more +1s and then mid-max. But it's the difference between getting a big chunk of power from one reward versus several small chunks from several rewards as a possibility. And that is what's happening after 400 to 450. Now, the other thing is that it seems as though once Ultimatum was launched, everybody looked at Ultimatum kind of as the new shiny object that we all wanted to play in, and that was going to net us the best rewards. I hate to break it to you, but Bungie does not do things in a way where it's harder activity means better stuff. It really doesn't work that way. It simply is harder activity maybe gives you a better chance on better stuff. But I don't even necessarily think it works that way. Essentially, what you want to be doing is what you were doing before. And if you're in the 450, the early 450 area, and I've heard some people saying they've been grinding all day and they have only been able to get a +1 one time. It's because I think everybody jumped into Ultimatum, and Ultimatum, even at its base difficulty, that is, Ultimatum with no modifiers or any sort of Bane on whatsoever, there's only one Bane you could equip, but no Bane, no modifiers, is still at 500 combatant power, and that is the thing that people aren't really looking at. So, just quickly, I want to go to the portal really quick. Shout out to Sinister for helping me with this clip. And I'm going to share with you what I think everybody should be doing, at least to 500 or the high 400s, maybe 470. Now, as you can see here on Ultimatum, the power difficulty with nothing added, only the stuff that it designates for you, you're still going to be fighting combatant power of 500. So all the combatants are going to be 500. Now, that will, if you can get an A tier, net you a +1 or a +2 in some cases. But you're still going to be fighting a 500 combatant power waves of enemies. What you want to do is you want to try to get a B+, still a B+, because B+ can potentially become an A tier reward, fighting the lowest combatant power as possible. Now, the other thing that I think is screwing people up is we now have a tier system that is the C to A+ tier reward system that is now 5 tiers versus if you're below 450, it's only 4 tiers. So now B+ is only halfway through the 4th tier and there's still a whole empty one there. And I think everybody's thinking about getting into that empty tier because they think it's going to net them more rewards. This is not the case. Still only go about halfway through what would be the 4th tier of rewards currently at the 450 area. Lower the combatant power using the Grand Master and load it up with modifiers and a Bane. Get it to as high as you need to, but all you want is that B+ reward, again, with the lowest combatant power as possible. So as you can see here, you could actually fight 470. This is in the case of my buddy Sinister, who's at 552 in this case. Optimal for him would be to fight combatants probably around 470 on Grandmaster difficulty, which is 30 power beneath just the base difficulty for Ultimatum. That is going to be, he's going to be able to get through the activity as fast as possible, and it's still going to net him the same level of reward as if he did Ultimatum with nothing on it. Now, this only lasts for so long. Eventually, you will have to make the jump up to Ultimatum. But for the beginning portions of the grind, you don't want to do that. You still want to focus in Grandmaster and just load up on the modifiers. Use as many modifiers as you need to in order to get that B+ reward. And once you've run out of those, only then jump up to Ultimatum. And then you'll continue that same process in Ultimatum, starting out with no modifiers, and then slowly adding modifiers as you go through. But again, only fighting the bare minimum of combatant power. So you always want to look at the combatant power and try to get it at a B+ as easily as possible. That's all you need to look at. The combatant power, get it as low as you can while still maintaining a B+ reward. If you do that, you will be able to farm up to 550 as quickly as possible. And I'm not going to say it's going to be fast, but I will say this is where the confusion lies. People, I think on the part of Bungie, just not communicating properly how they were increasing the power grind, making people think that it was going to be just faster, that doing harder level difficulty stuff was going to net you just better rewards for power overall. It's not. It's really only playing into the tier of rewards in that regard. Power is kind of different, and I think the two of them are sort of getting mixed up together sometimes. They did say that there was going to be an increase to the, I guess, the time in which you were going to be power grinding, but that is the case if you are getting RNG on those bonus rewards, which we were never getting. Prior to the launch of Ashen Iron, you would get the reward for the power, and then all the other bonus rewards were just below power. Those were just kind of throwaways. You were just farming them just for rolls, or maybe, you know, for a specific piece of gear that you were looking for, or a specific armor set, or maybe for a higher tiered reward on something, but they weren't actually powerful rewards. Now there is an RNG on those other rewards that should allow you to get more, or potentially more, than 1+1 from every drop. Now, if that's not working, here's the thing. I cannot confirm or deny whether or not that is working. I can just confirm that that is what Bungie stated the intention was. And I think it got confused. But if that is not working, if those bonus rewards are not dropping RNG chances for more +1s, then that is 100% a glitch, and this is not working as intended. But I have heard that a lot of people think that it's broken, and to be honest, I can't tell you whether or not it is or it isn't, but I can tell you that the intention and what people think was supposed to be how it was supposed to work, and how they're describing it was supposed to work, is not how it was intended to work. So there's a divide between what people think is broken and what the actual intention was by Bungie. Now, whether or not those cross, I couldn't tell you. I personally have been getting more than one powerful reward on the completion of different activities in the portal. Not always, but occasionally I'll get, for example, a +1 or +2, and I might get one other or two other +2s or +1s, and then I might get a couple that are below my power, maybe sometimes 10 below my power. Those are the throwaways. But there's a chance every single time, so you would potentially want to do the things that give you the most powerful or most bonus rewards on completion. So farm those out first, but essentially that's the way it's supposed to be working. And I don't understand if it's not working that way, or if people are just confusing it working that way. It seems to be working that way, or seems to be working properly for me and other people I know. Shout out to Porto Bomber. He has also been grinding this, and it seems to be working for him. But again, I don't know if there's just confusion here, or if there is an actual glitch. But I would like to hear back from those who watch this video. Let me know, are you getting possible +1s every single time, multiple +1s, or are you just only getting the 1+1 for a B+ reward, which is turned into an A, or potentially an A+ eventually? But remember, you can get an A on a completion from the B+. So even if you queue up the modifiers for a B+, you can still get an A from it. That's what we've been doing since the launch of Edge of Fate. So nothing has essentially changed at all, except that there is an RNG chance on those bonus rewards. And I just want to reiterate that fact again, because I feel as though I have actually talked many times about how to curate an activity using the portal and using the modifiers before, and it just doesn't seem to be sinking in. Now, I don't think that's because I'm necessarily doing a bad job of explaining it, or that people just don't understand. I think it's actually just a really backwards system and is not intuitive at all. And like the whole idea of keeping things easy as possible in order to get the best rewards possible doesn't seem like the thing you would want to do. It seems as though the most simple way that Bungie could have done this is the harder the activity, the better the rewards are. So if you do something that's 50 power above where you are, so if you're 450 and you do a ultimatum, you should be getting like 3+5s or 4+5s. That would make sense. And if you can go even higher than that at a lower level difficulty, you should be getting even higher drops. But that's not how it works. It works by doing the easiest thing possible that still nets you a B+. That's it. It's actually very simple in that way, but it's not simple in terms of how you actually integrate this into your playing session. So I just wanted to reiterate those facts. Another thing that was apparently very glitched today was the Crucible. And apparently at one point, Clash, I think it was Clash, was finishing after 7 kills. I think one team would get 7 kills and it would just autocomplete and you were still getting rewards from that. That has been patched. So if you see anything on that telling you to play Clash, Clash is just back to normal now. But I hope this actually helps out a few people, either in understanding the process, best utilizing it, and farming power, and potentially getting up to those higher tier rewards, which is what I'm sure everybody's after. And also note that I actually, just from completing the introduction mission today, got this Mint Retrograde Tier 5 holofoil with everything on it that I want. Implosion rounds, hatchlings. I got bait and switch. I have chain reaction. I mean, absolute god roll of a reward. And I got this at Tier 5, under 450, from just completing the introduction mission. And the new activity is actually really fun, and I would suggest everybody go into that because it seems as though the rewards are pretty good based on what I got. And you could say this is streamer loot, but I'm not a streamer. I make YouTube videos. So I don't know. You tell me. But also, for those who say you can't get Tier 5s under 450 or 500, I've heard many people say that. I have all Tier 5 armor and mostly Tier 5 weapons. I don't use them all, but I think I have a Tier 5 weapon for every slot. And honestly, I haven't even really been chasing them that much. I've just kind of been doing this same method, and, you know, eventually you get them. And I did the new activity today. I'm just sort of playing the game as I feel as though they want you to play it, and I'm getting the rewards. So, again, hopefully everybody can take something from this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. If you've watched to this point in the video, leave a hashtag Ashen Iron in the comment section down below. And once more, I'm Wilhelm Scream. We will see you next time.